Today we'll be exploring eating for toddlers. We often hear that toddlers can be quite picky eaters, and often parents and caregivers are finding it quite a struggle at meal times. Today, hopefully we'll be able to give you some tips to help meal times be a fun time and to help your child be a competent eater. Firstly, it's good to know that some amount of picky eating in toddlers is very normal. So after 12 months of age, their growth rate really starts to slow down. So as their growth rate starts to decline, their appetite also tends to drop off. They're also often being a lot more independent, and these two factors can have an impact on how much they'll be eating and how much interest they show at meal times. Today we'll be exploring 6 tips to help you and your toddler at meal times. Firstly, we want you to be offering your toddler regular meals and snacks. So you should be offering them 3 main meals and 2 snacks in between. So we want you to be offering them foods that you know that they enjoy, mixed with foods that they might still be getting to know or getting familiar with. So offering them that combination of foods they know and recognise, along with those new foods, helps them to build up the confidence and to develop into competent eaters. Having set meal times allows them to build up an appetite before meals, and this helps them to be more interested and engaged with the meals in front of them. If toddlers tend to graze across the day, they tend to not really feel very hungry, and then often they show less signs of interest in actually eating the meal that you present to them. The second tip is a phrase developed by dietitian Alan Satter, and that is that parents provide and children decide. And this gives us a really clear idea of who has what role when it comes to meal times. A caregiver's role is to plan the meal times and to offer the nutritious foods to the toddler. A toddler's role is to decide how much they will eat of the food that's offered to them. The caregiver isn't responsible to get the child to eat everything on the plate. You might encourage them to try or smell or look at different foods on the plate, but they don't need to eat everything that's given to them. Toddlers have a really good insight into their hunger and fullness levels and will generally know when they've had enough to eat on their own. So the third one is to avoid offering alternate meal or snacks. So it's really normal for a toddler to be suspicious of new foods, but we really want to avoid you offering them an alternate meal if they don't eat the one that's offered to them. So as long as you've offered them a meal with food that's familiar to them, along with some different foods that they might be trying at the moment, if they don't eat it, we encourage you to calmly remove the plate. And if they return to you later saying that they're hungry, we would encourage you to give them the same plate of food and to let them tackle it again. Try to avoid offering an alternate meal or snack, especially if it's of one of their favourite foods. So toddlers quickly learn that they don't necessarily have to eat the meal that's in front of them because they'll get that alternative that's potentially a more favourite food if they don't eat the food that's put in front of them. The fourth tip is to think about the mealtime environment for your toddler. So how the family interacts at meals and where they're sitting for their meals can play a really big encouraging roles in toddlers eating well and becoming competent eaters. Check out our segment on creating a positive mealtime environment for more tips on this. The fifth tip is to think about how much milk your toddler is drinking. So if they're filling up on milk across the day, often this can have a really big negative impact on their appetite to eat their meals and snacks that are provided to them. So for a toddler, they really should only be having 1.5 serves of milk. Even less if they're having some cheese and yogurt as well. So if they're having a lot more milk than this at the moment, it's probably good to have a bit of a think about trying to reduce their milk intake so that hopefully they can be a little bit more hungry and have a bit more interest and appetite for the food and snacks that you put in front of them at meal times. During this time, we really also encourage caregivers to aim to stop using bottles. So we really want milk and water to all be offered in a cup to help with the reduction of their milk intake. The sixth tip is to think about creating some positive experiences around food that don't involve eating. So you can do some great things with your toddlers, things like reading stories about food, and there's some really great books out there that talk about food to help encourage your child to be eating and trying different foods. You may also take your toddler shopping and get them to talk about the different foods or fruits and vegetables that they see in the supermarket, or you might have a go at growing some herbs or vegetables at home yourself with your toddler. As caregivers, it's also great to make positive discussion and talk around food at meal times. So you might talk about the colour, the crunch, the texture of the food, and about how exciting it tastes for you eating it. This can be really encouraging and supportive to get your toddler to try these foods. Try to avoid statements like, oh, they don't like whatever food that might be. Try to keep the language really positive around food to encourage a child to eat it. By saying things like, oh, they don't eat Brussels sprouts, it makes it less likely that the toddler is going to be willing to give them a try. I hope these 6 tips have given you some ideas of things to work on with your toddler at meal times. Remember, their appetite can vary hugely day to day, and to do what you can to make meal times positive and fun. If you'd like more information on toddler nutrition and healthy eating tips, feel free to get in touch with the dietitians at Banyule Community Health. You can do this via our website or by giving us a call on 9450 2000.